everybody. I wanted to do a top 5 mice going into 2024 video. These will be all my favorite mice and my mains that I switch between while I'm playing video games. Now, namely, I play Call of Duty. I'm a consistent top 20 player on the leaderboards. Right now I'm at 18. If you search up the leaderboards on Modern Warfare 3, you'll see that I'm typically around the 18 to 21 mark, depending on if it's the morning or night. I usually play catch up at night, and then in the morning I'm busy, so I don't typically play all the time. But nonetheless, these are the mice that I've consistently performed the best with out of like all the mice I have. I own over 30 mice, 35 mice. I've probably purchased, 2023 was a very heavy year, so I was actually going to do a top 3, but I just couldn't do it because there were so many mice that launched. I think 2023 was really like a banger year in terms of like a ton of different mediums, such as gaming mice, gaming as a whole. There were so many good games that dropped last year. There were so many good mice that dropped, like so many Chinese mice that really hit the scene and really took off. For instance, the Deluxe M800 Ultra, or even stuff like the Ajaz AJ139 Pro, really solid G Pro style mouse, or even the VGN Dragonfly. There were so many banger mice that dropped. But yeah, overall, I wanted to do a top 5 gaming mice going into 2024 video from my perspective as a top 20 Call of Duty player. So let's get started. I don't want to take too much time. I don't want to make this video too long. I'm going to start from my number 5 going to number 1. My number 5 gaming mouse going into 2024 is none other than the Viper V2 Pro. Now we're still waiting for Razer to drop the Viper V3 Pro. Obviously that's probably going to copy the shape of the V3 Hyperspeed, which is a little bit more of like this shape with the Death Adder V3. I could honestly tie these mice up. They're both very comfortable. This one is obviously an ergo mouse, and this one is a symmetrical shape. But overall, they're both really comfortable. I perform really well with both. This one for me, I like it, and I have large hands, so it's perfectly sized and suited for me, but my hand ends up getting a bit sore after a while, and I just feel like I can't really move as well as I do with the Viper in-game, which is why I place the Viper and not the Death Adder tied. Normally I would tie them just because they kind of released at the same time and they're almost like siblings, but it's an excellent mouse nonetheless. I got this for $40, basically pre-owned. It's a really solid shape. But overall, I would definitely say the Viper out of the two worked best for me. I still think this is an excellent mouse. I put Tiger Ice V2 skates on here. It's a really solid shape overall. I've always consistently performed better with the V2 Pro. It's a very natural claw grip while also having the length to support my fingertips, because I do have pretty long hands at 22 by 11. So this one has always been like consistently good because I just have a really natural claw grip, which I found that when I'm more pressured into a claw grip like this, like a natural claw grip, I end up performing better just because I'm more controlled. It's easier to move my mouse around, very easy to manipulate this shape, whereas you can kind of see, you can still do it with this one, but it's definitely not nearly as much movement. You're very tied when you're using an ergo mouse, which is why I've always preferred symmetrical mice versus ergos. So yeah, for sure, this I've had 0 QC. Razer is almost flawless when it comes to QC. The switches are great, scroll wheel excellent, side buttons barely any peer post travel. In fact, I would say none at all. I can't push these in at all. Maybe a little bit on mouse 4, but that's about it. Mouse 5 barely moves at all. No flex. Overall, it's just a really solid shape, and this would easily tie. It was a mouse that's been out for a while, but it's so good that it still reigns supreme in 2024. Plus with 8K polling, obviously I've always said that polling rate does not matter for me. I play the same at 1K as I do at 8K, as I always said it, but you do have 8K polling on this 2022 mouse, which is insane. It just shows how far Razer's tech is compared to everyone else. Obviously it kills the battery, and I don't see any benefit, but if you want it, it's there. If you're a very high refresh rate gamer, if you play at like 540 hertz and you want this type of technology, it's there for you. So yeah, number 5, Razer Viper V2 Pro. Now next up is none other than the Dareju A950 Pro Magnesium. Now this is a very, I would almost say, underground mouse. Not many people know about it. I know Boardsy covered it in a video, and I actually didn't do a review on it just because I didn't think it would gain that much traction, since it wasn't really a hyped up mouse. It kind of just dropped out of nowhere. Whereas, you have something like the Beast X, for instance, that's been hyped up for forever, and a lot of people thought it was a scam. So that's why it was genuinely a very hyped up shape, is because people genuinely didn't know if it was going to come out or not. I think WL Mouse at this point is a household name. You see everybody's pre-ordering the mini size now because A lot of people were hesitant at first, but as soon as people started getting their review unit, myself included, hopped on board, and we got our mice, and it's an excellent mouse. Dario, on the other hand, I never saw any advertising or anything. I just, one day I saw Boardsy make a video on it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I looked at a couple of reviews. There were maybe like 4 or 5 up on YouTube, and I saw the price was like $180, and I was like, wow, I will definitely not be buying this for $180. But before Black Friday came around, I saw the price drop to $99 on AliExpress, and I was like, okay, 100% I need to grab this mouse. And so I did, and I can definitely say it's a great shape. It's a lot more like a GPX. It feels really comfortable in hand, almost flawless build quality, just a little bit of post-travel on mouse 4 and mouse 5, but no pre-travel, and no side-to-side play, barely any post-travel at all, and just a hint of pre-travel. But yeah, overall, scroll wheel is solid, a little bit noisy, but a really nice mouse overall. It's a 55 gram GPX style shape that feels excellent in my hand, really good for claw grip, and even solid for palm grip. And you could even fingertip this thing if you really wanted to, although I would recommend it more for claw and palm users. I have no issues with my unit. It doesn't really flex anywhere other than maybe the bottom, just a hint. It's a really well-built mouse. I have 0 flex on the magnesium shell, and typically that's why I like magnesium mice, is just because they're so well built. The clicks are nice and satisfying, and just overall, no flex, no rattle, no nothing. It's an excellent mouse. I performed great with it every single time I used it, and it comes with 4K in the box, which is something a lot of these mice manufacturers have stopped doing for some reason. But yeah, overall, it's just a really good shape. Now, my number 3 is none other than the WL Mouse Beast X. Now, I threw on X-Ray Pad Jade skates for the Air 58 on this mouse, and it's performed super well ever since. When I first got the mouse, I put dots on, and I've tried like 3 different brands of dots. Nothing seemed to work. It was always very scratchy feeling, no matter what type of dot I put, because it's kind of difficult to see. If I 2x, you can kind of see it's raised, the body is raised over where the skates are supposed to be, so it was kind of difficult finding skates. Apologize for the dust here, but I managed to throw on the Air 58 skates, and it was perfect. They have the perfect length, and they make for a really smooth glide with the X-Ray Pad Jade skates. Super quiet on glass, which is rare, and the glide is incredible. I can literally just fling this thing a little bit and it just glides like nothing. It's excellent, especially with the weight. 39 gram shape, Final Mouse Starlight Medium and Ultralight M shaped. It's a really good mouse overall. It has a really natural claw shape, and it uses optical switches. It feels really good. Have the nice magnesium body with no flex. Only thing that flexes just a bit is the bottom, and that's about it. It probably has the most satisfying optical switch I've ever heard. It's strange because it's an optical, but it sounds mechanical, which I love. It's a very high-pitched, satisfying, crisp click. Probably the crispiest switches I've ever used in my life. Super solid. And big kudos to WL Mouse. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. Again, people thought this was a scam, and they always said, no, it's not a scam, you guys. I buy it, 2 weeks later, it's at my doorstep, and it's one of the best mice I've ever used. So really insane mouse, really great build quality, great switch implementation, no pre and post travel, just a hair on mouse 1 and mouse 2, but doesn't even affect gameplay at all. Really nice scroll wheel, and just really tactile switches that are super crispy. Great job, WL Mouse. Now, my number 2 mouse going into 2024 is none other than the M800 Ultra by Deluxe. Now, this is the new blue variant. I also have the black variant, as you guys have seen. I have made a review on that one in particular. This one is 55 grams versus the 49 gram option if you pick the black variant with 300 milliamp hours. I spoke to Deluxe personally, and they told me that if the new colorways sell well, then they'll consider dropping a 49 gram version for the both of them. Right now I'm rocking dots, so I should be around 54, 53 grams. And overall, I have nothing but praise to give to them. This model has a little bit of post-travel on the side buttons, but again, nothing you'll experience in game. I just like to document this just so in case you guys are interested and this is a big deal for you. My personal favorite switch is the Wano Blue Shell Pink Dots.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Barely any flex. You can't flex the side buttons at all. The bottom, also barely any flex. It's just a really well built mouse. The back, perfect. Scroll wheel is nice. There's really not much to say about this mouse. It's 4K compatible with their dongle, which is right here. This is only $12, I believe, on AliExpress or Amazon, and I've had no problems. It's an excellent mouse. I bought all of these mice with my own money, so none of these are sponsored or anything, although I would love to be sponsored, but I could contact some of them for review units in the future. But yeah, overall, it's an excellent mouse. The shape, I said in the previous review for it, is basically a Viper medium. If the Viper was a large mouse, then this would be the medium style shape. It's a little bit bigger than the Viper Mini and a little bit smaller than the Viper V2 Pro. And it makes for a really excellent shape. I didn't know that making the Viper V2 Pro 124 millimeters in length would lead to such a wonderful shape. And they added a little bit of height to it on the back, so it really gives for a really nice natural claw shape. And overall, I just have nothing but praise to give to Deluxe. They knocked it out of the park with this model. I always knew that I was going to like this mouse just because I like the Viper so much, but when I got this in hand for the first time back in September, I fell in love with the shape. This mouse has genuinely been my main for I think 3 or 4 months. It was just, it's that good of a shape, and it's so good that I bought it twice. I bought it in the blue colorway and I have the black colorway, as I said earlier. It's genuinely that good of a mouse. Now, there's probably no one surprised that this is my number one. I just made a video on it, but the Wise Owl Cloud is by far my number one. This shape has been in the works for quite some time. I've been waiting, I believe, like a year for it since they first started talking about it. And as soon as I had the ability to buy one on AliExpress, I jumped on the opportunity because I was that excited for this shape. As soon as I saw the length and this shape that it was styled after, I knew I had to grab one. Now, as I've said in the past, this is a SteelSeries Sensei style mouse, and it's just great. It feels excellent in hand. It's 126 millimeters in length, 55 to 57 gram weight. I'm rocking it at about 55 right now. It's just such an excellent shape. It's been my main for the past couple weeks, ever since right before Christmas, and it's genuinely so good. For my hand shape, I would say this is best for medium to large size hands, and I have nothing but praise to give to this mouse. It feels excellent in game. Definitely said there's a couple of like nitpicks I have, like the post travel on mouse 4 and mouse 5, and just a little bit of flex. But other than that, since those don't translate to gameplay, it doesn't bother me that much. It's just I like to document these things for the viewer, and it's just such a great shape overall. The switch implementation is perfect. It sounds great. The scroll wheel is one of the best I've used. The shape is one of the best I've used. It's been my main nonstop. I just have nothing but praise for this mouse. It is genuinely my number one, and I've been using it nonstop since I got it. I can't use any other mouse. Sometimes I'll gravitate over to the M800 Ultra just because I just purchased this one in the new colorway, so I wanted to at least try it out a little bit, and it's still a great mouse, but nothing really tops this shape because, as I said in the video, shape is king, and that is exactly what this is. This is the king of all the shapes I've ever tried. It's just perfect for my hand size. And having a 22x11 hand size, it's a little bit tough to find a mouse that really fits in my hand perfect, and that's exactly what this does, and that's why it is my number one. That's all, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.